Hello everyone, my name is James Suhan. I'm a graduate support engineer here at eOne Solutions. In this video, I'm doing something a little different from normal, where instead of kind of showing you a process or how to do something, how to find something, troubleshoot, I'm gonna do a little tips and tricks and kind of just some best practices when it comes to Business Central and Popdock, with a primary focus on using the query builder over custom lists. So I am going to head on over to Popdock here. And as you can see, I am here in my Business Central Sandbox connector. So when it comes to working with Popdock and the customizations people like to have for Business Central, one of the features we have with our Business Central connector is the query builder here. Now, the query builder is an extremely strong tool of ours that we have. So looking kind of what we got here, I guess that one's not a great list. But going back into the connector, in our query builder, kind of just looking what we got here, I'll do posted purchase tables. So as you can see here, I have my purchase header, purchase line tables, and that's all good. Query works straightforward, simple stuff. Which the big difference between using the query builder and custom lists inside of Popdock, so the big separator between these two right here is what they use to operate. Now, when it comes to it, custom lists use lists. They are Popdock views. They are not something that is published to Business Central. They will not be available in Business Central unless it is through a Popdock medium. So if I were to go into my custom list and I have this merge test list merge list test, as you can see, it's based off of two lists that I have, in which they have their own respective fields, kind of all that stuff. But with the big difference being is it uses, as I mentioned, lists rather than tables. Whereas the query builder uses the tables directly from Business Central. Kind of going into that, like any custom lists, your compares, joins, summaries, merge, restrictions, all of that stuff is built off of these right here. Our lists. Now, I know it's a very common misconception that people will see these and be like, oh, yep, these are our tables. These are BC tables. They are not your BC tables. Essentially, think of these as miniature pre-built query builder lists. Each of these has their own tables that go into it and are built as such. So a very, very, very popular list is our general ledger entries. Now, again, seems straightforward. I know GLE, that's what we want. We want to use that. So you'll take this, combine it with posted sales invoices, purchase headers, sales invoice lines, whatever you may have, which again, those are also lists, not tables. So this could be made up of 2 to 3 different tables, or posted sales invoice lines could be made up of 4 tables. So even though you have a join list between your general ledger entries list and your posted sales invoice list, you could be pulling data from 7, 8, however many tables, rather than just what you think you're just pulling from, which again, not great on performance, takes a hit, has a tendency to time out of memory errors, all that bad stuff that we don't want. Whereas with the query builder, as you can see, I'll pull one. I have a GLE right here. We can see it's just the GL entry table. We can get nearly almost the exact same data, minus maybe an extra table or two that's thrown in there with the general ledger entries list. But the core data that people want to see is in this GL entry table. That's what you're going to want to be able to look for. And see, here's all of our fields that people like seeing. Everything's here. All that good stuff that has all that data. And it's a little bit different name because this is the true table. This is not a list. Which again, you're basically building the list using the tables, which is then published to Business Central as a web service. You could pull from it and you can see it elsewhere. You can use it in Power BI. Do with as you please. But that is kind of the key difference there, is that Query Builder utilizes your tables. Custom lists don't. Now moving into the benefits of the Query Builder is, again, kind of going back to that example I gave earlier with general ledger entries and posted sales invoice lines. In that instance, you could be pulling from 7 different tables at that time. Whereas here in the Query Builder, if I were to tack another table onto this, like I'll just tack on, let's see, sales invoice line. And I'll just throw whatever criteria just because this isn't sticking. So we'll just throw a field or two, whatever. So now we have a more information going into this Query Builder list. And there's 2 options, similar to what it would be if you were to create a join list using general ledger entries and posted sales invoice lines, which in that instance, let's just kind of show the comparison here. So we'll just throw together a quick join test GLE. So starting off financial, general ledger entries. And we're just going to throw just these first couple fields in here. Just putting that through. We're going to add our join. Should be under sales, posted sales invoice lines. Gonna throw a couple of these fields in here. Just throw together whatever, just for an example. This is not a list that's being built to work. So as you can see, we have two items here in this compared to the Query Builder. We also have 2 lists. Or 2 items, but the big difference is these are the base tables. These are the list. These 2 tables are incorporated into this list, but there are also other tables that go into this as well that we just don't see. Which again, we could almost build nearly an identical list using the Query Builder, but instead of pulling 7 tables, we're pulling from just these 2 tables. Which again promotes efficiency, time management, and making sure you get the data you actually want instead of unnecessary data you don't need. That's kind of the big key, is timing. Query Builders run fast. You're only pulling 2 tables, pulling a couple hundred records, whatever the case may be. If you were to pull 10,000 records in a Query Builder list, it'll be done in about a second or 2. Once you have this, there's always a potential this times out no matter how much data you are actually pulling, any filters you put on there, restrictions. Because of how many tables it is searching through for that information, it is just going to take more time, more resources, and increase the odds of timing out, running out of memory, whatever the error happens to be that is thrown. That's our big advantage with the Query Builder over custom lists. Now, one thing you can do is you can take those custom lists. So if I were to move this one, you can create custom lists using your Query Builder list. So I can go to my test and pull my GLE list, select my couple of fields, select our join criteria. And now we can create that joined list using our Query Builder list as well. Which if you want to create joins, which I typically recommend doing this inside of your production connector, as it allows you to then utilize those resources there. You don't have to worry about changes, exporting it out, importing it out, rebuilding it. It's right there in your production with the data you want to see it with. But again, you can create these lists. Any of your custom lists can be created using Query Builder lists that you built. So if you want to create custom list stuff with general ledger entries, you can create a sample one like this was originally right here, where it was just a GL entry with only these couple fields, but you can add every field to this if you really like, and just have a comprehensive general ledger entries Query Builder list that contains that key table you want, which you can then use here in your custom list to really build out what you want, how you want it, and what you can do with it. The big basis that I'm trying to get at is try to use the query builder for as much as you can. It's going to make life a lot easier. It's going to make sure your lists run, and it's going to significantly reduce that risk of hitting timeout errors. If you want to use these lists in custom API endpoints, you can put them in widgets, embed them places. It's just always recommended by myself and others to use the query builder as much as you can.